President Donald Trump disclosed highly classified information to Russia's foreign minister about a planned Islamic State operation, two U.S. officials said on Monday, plunging the White House into another controversy just months into Trump's short tenure in office. The intelligence, shared at a meeting last week with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, was supplied by a U.S. ally in the fight against the militant group, both officials with knowledge of the situation said. The White House declared the allegations, first reported by The Washington Post, incorrect. The story that came out tonight as reported is false, McMaster, Trump's national security advisor, told reporters at the White House, adding that the leaders reviewed a range of common threats including to civil aviation. At no time were intelligence sources or methods discussed. The president did not disclose any military operations that were not already publicly known. I was in the room. It didn't happen, he said. The White House also released a statement from Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who said the Oval Office meeting focused on counterterrorism, and from Deputy National Security Advisor Dinah Powell, who called the Washington Post story false. Still, the news triggered concern in Congress. The Senate's number 2 Democrat, Dick Durbin, called Trump's conduct dangerous and reckless. Bob Corker, the Republican head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, called the allegations very troubling if true. Obviously, they're in a downward spiral right now and they've got to come to grips with all that's happening, he said at the White House secret compartment. The latest controversy came as Trump's administration reels from the fallout over his abrupt dismissal of former FBI Director James Comey and amid congressional calls for an independent investigation into allegations of Russian meddling in the 2016 U.S. election. One of the officials said the intelligence discussed by Trump in his meeting with Lavrov was classified top secret and held in a secure compartment to which only a handful of intelligence officials have access. After Trump disclosed the information, which one of the officials described as spontaneous, officials immediately called the CIA and the National Security Agency, both of which have agreements with a number of allied intelligence services around the world, and informed them what had happened. While the president has the authority to disclose even the most highly classified information at will, in this case he did so without consulting the ally that provided it, which threatens to jeopardize a long-standing intelligence sharing agreement, the U.S. officials said. Since taking office in January, Trump has careened from controversy to controversy, complaining on the first day about news coverage of his inauguration crowds, charging his predecessor, former President Barack Obama, with wiretapping, and just last week firing the FBI director who was overseeing an investigation into potential ties between Trump's presidential campaign and the Russian government. Trump, a Republican who has called allegations of links between his campaign team and Russia a total scam, sharply criticized his 2016 election rival, Democrat Hillary Clinton, for her handling of classified information as Secretary of State, when she used a private email server. The FBI concluded that no criminal charges against Clinton were warranted, but Comey said she and her colleagues had been careless with classified information. In his conversations with the Russian officials, Trump appeared to be boasting about his knowledge of the looming threats, telling them he was briefed on great intel every day, an official with knowledge of the exchange said, according to the Post. Some U.S. officials have told Reuters they have been concerned about disclosing highly classified intelligence to Trump. One official, who requested anonymity to discuss dealing with the president, said last month, "He has no filter, it's in one ear and out the mouth." One of the officials with knowledge of Trump's meeting with the Russian called the timing of the disclosure particularly unfortunate, as the president prepares for a White House meeting on Tuesday with Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, an ally in the fight against Islamic State. Trump's first foreign trip also begins later this week and includes a stop in Saudi Arabia, another Islamic State foe, and a May 25 NATO meeting in Brussels attended by other important U.S. allies. He also has stops planned in Israel and the Vatican. The president's trip and latest uproar over his meeting with Russian officials come amid rumors that he might shake up his senior staff in a bid to refocus his administration. Donald Trump reportedly revealed highly classified information about ISIS to the Russian foreign minister and ambassador in a White House meeting last week. The information revealed by the president while in the Oval Office was said to have been provided to the U.S. by an American ally through a sensitive intelligence sharing arrangement. In a scoop that threatened still further to weaken the president's credibility and sent shockwaves through the political universe, The Washington Post said the partner had not given permission for the information to be shared with Russia. After the meeting, White House officials took steps to contain the damage, placing calls to the CIA and National Security Agency. It has not been reported which third country was involved. The British Embassy in Washington declined to comment when contacted by The Independent. "This is code word information," one U.S. official told the newspaper, a reference to one of the highest classification levels used by the American intelligence agencies. Trump revealed more information to the Russian ambassador than we have shared with our own allies. After the Post detailed Mr. Trump's alleged actions, reaction was swift and harsh. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy called it another in a very disturbing trend of careless behavior by this administration. "If this story is true, it's another brick in the wall of a really, really troubling connection between Trump and the Russian government," he said. The development was the latest incident to shake Washington, still stunned by the firing of FBI Director James Comey. The White House has been scrambling to project a sense of order, after Mr. Trump himself created mayhem by contradicting his own officials' explanation for the firing. The report on Monday evening said one of the most concerning aspects of the slip was that Mr. Trump revealed the city in ISIS territory where the U.S. intelligence partner detected the threat. There were claims that Russia could use the information to undermine the U.S. or its ally. Mr. Trump's national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, told the newspaper, the president and the foreign minister reviewed common threats from terrorist organizations to include threats to aviation. He added, "At no time were any intelligence sources or methods discussed and no military operations were disclosed that were not already known publicly." Later, Mr. McMaster told reporters in a brief statement delivered outside the White House, that the Post report was wrong and that at no time were intelligence sources or methods discussed. "I was in the room. It didn't happen," he said. During the election campaign, Mr. Trump had often talked of the possibility of working with Russia to confront ISIS. He frequently defended Russia's military actions in Syria, disagreeing with many Western analysts to say Moscow's role was crucial to stopping the spread of the Islamists. The meeting in the Oval Office with Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, and Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, took place one day after the firing of Mr. Comey, something Mr. Lavrov had joked about. The Post said during that meeting, Mr. Trump went off script and began describing details about an ISIS threat related to the use of laptop computers on aircraft. It said that for anyone in government discussing such matters with an adversary would be illegal. As president, Mr. Trump has authority to declassify government secrets, making it unlikely that his disclosures broke the law. In his meeting with Mr. Lavrov, Mr. Trump was said to have boasted about his inside knowledge of the looming threat. "I get great intel. I have people brief me on great intel every day," Mr. Trump reportedly said. Mr. Trump went on to discuss aspects of the threat that the United States only learned from a key U.S. partner. He did not reveal the specific intelligence gathering method, but described how ISIS was pursuing elements of a specific plot and how much harm such an attack could cause under varying circumstances. Mr. Trump's identification of the location was seen as particularly problematic as Russia could use that detail to help identify the U.S. ally, the newspaper said. The Post said it was withholding most details of the plot. It quoted one former U.S. intelligence counterterrorism official as saying, Everyone knows this stream is very sensitive and the idea of sharing it at this level of granularity with the Russians is troubling. Senior Republican Senator John McCain called the allegations disturbing, if true. "We certainly don't want any president to leak classified information, but the president does have the right to do that," he added. Another senior Republican with large experience in foreign and intelligence affairs, Senator Lindsey Graham, said, "I have no idea if it's true. If it is, it would be very troubling. I'm not going to comment any further." Democratic Senator Bob Corker warned that the White House has got to do something soon to bring itself under control and in order. Speculation about which intelligence partner of the United States provided the information shared by the president immediately focused to the so-called Five Eye Group. This is the vital alliance which has linked Britain, Australia, Canada and New Zealand with the US in an iron-solid intelligence sharing arrangement since the end of World War II. Mr. Trump has frequently railed against people who leak information. He said in February, "The real scandal here is that classified information is illegally given out by intelligence like candy. Very un-American." A Russian photographer took photos of part of the meeting in the Oval Office that were then released by the Russian state-owned TASS news agency. No U.S. news media was permitted to attend any part of the meeting.